Welcome to the 13th after-action report for the Scottish Corridor campaign in Combat Mission Battle for Normandy. During the last few engagements, I've commanded the 9th Cameronians in the operational area of Grainville-sur-Don, west-southwest of Caen. Some of the campaign battles have been intense, and I've seen my fair share of casualties in the British forces. German armour has been lethally superior against the Churchills that I've fielded, many Churchills being taken out by one shot before even sighting the enemy. Towed AT in most instances has shored up my anti-tank defence, and this campaign has forced me to re-evaluate the benefits and potential usefulness of towed AT. I need to look at towed AT some more. Back to now. It's mid-afternoon on the 9th of June 1944 and the 9th SS Panzer Division, or Hohenstaufen, are launching an assault against the 9th Cameronians defending Grainville. Divisional intel is reporting that the entire 9th SS Combined Arms Division is advancing on our location. Jerry is advancing from the south. Based upon previous battles and the intel, I'm expecting up to 3 companies of infantry, around 300 to 320 combat soldiers. Armour is advised to be Panzer IVs, but I'm nervous I'll be facing Panthers. They've been extremely troublesome. I anticipate around 16 to 18 tanks with possible half-track support. Intel also states the German force has access to heavy artillery. Under my command I have C and D Company from the 9th Cameronians with battalion support from 2 and 3 section carriers, armour support from 7, 8, 9 and 10 troops, 9th Royal Tank Regiment, so that's 15 Churchills with a mix of 57 and 75mm guns. I also have 4 6-pounder and 3 17-pounder towed AT, 81mm, 88mm and 183mm artillery support, and 1 Typhoon 1B from the RAF. My forces are pretty much at full strength, having been refitted and resupplied overnight on the 28th. I have 60 minutes to repel the attack and hold both victory locations. Brigade orders have prioritised my objectives over my own casualties. I have 2 defend objectives, Lady Muck in the centre and Lord Muck in the northwest. Both areas offer reasonable defensive terrain and buildings. They are also slightly elevated versus the German avenue of attack. Reviewing the 9th SS's route of attack, I have a wide front, however the centre is large open fields with no concealment or cover. This is a deadly avenue of attack even for armour. With the size of the attacking force, I surmise they must attack from both flanks, southeast and southwest. As this is a large battle, I'm going to break the battlefield into 3 sections, left flank, centre and right flank. My forward defensive line is slightly south of the church and the Lady Muck objective, stretching west to the eastern edge of the small settlement on the West Highway. Splitting my forces, Decoy together with 7, 9 and 10 troop will defend the left flank and objective Lady in the centre. Secoy, 7 troop will defend the right flank and objective Lord. Looking at the left flank first, there is one road which armour can advance on. On the western side of that road is a small farmstead, on the eastern an orchard. My left flank strategy is to limit the attacking forces' space for manoeuvre, and to try and ambush them on the road and in the orchard, potentially forcing the SS to advance through the open cornfields in the centre instead. To achieve this, I shall have to reset my defensive positions. I've identified 2 key locations, Fire Lines Gardner and Lake. 10 troop together with 16 platoon shall relocate forward to Gardner, with 9 troop deploying at Lake, with 17 platoon in reserve to 60. 18 platoon shall defend the church, together with 7 troop on the right side of the screen. 2 section, the AT 6-pounder, together with 2 17-pounders, shall deploy on the left and in the centre, with line of sight covering the road and the cornfields. Looking at my right flank, I've identified a further 2 key locations for defence. Bacall is the farm buildings on the Maid Road, and Turner is the settlement on my western flank. I shall garrison Bacall with 8 troop, 1 section AT and 15 platoon from C Company. I will have to relocate troops to Turner as it's not in my defensive AO. 13 platoon will be garrisoned at Turner together with 2 section carrier. There is limited access to Turner via the main road only, so getting troops in and out of the urban area could become risky. To the south is Grainville Chateau that we fought for in the last battle. There are a couple of gaps in the northern hedgerow of the chateau and a gated road entrance to the field, on the left-hand side of the hedge. I shall ensure I cover the gate with AT in case of armour ingress. I'm anticipating armour to advance on the far right flank, up the roadway and through the gated entrance. I have this covered with several AT assets from the centre and Bacall. I then have a deeper defensive line at Lord Muck, garrisoned by one of 8 troops Churchills, and I believe it is Sergeant McQueen, and 14 platoon. B Squadron command tanks, 3 section carrier and 10 platoon MG from the 1st Battalion Middlesex are in reserve, with C and D Company command and control at Pinkie and Perky. It's well known no plan survives first engagement, so with everything meticulously laid out and structured, let's kick off and watch it all fall apart and see if I can adapt. We immediately start with 16 platoon and 10 troop repositioning on the left flank. German artillery soon starts to fall. On the right flank, 2 section carrier start to push towards objective Turner. As artillery falls, and I take my first casualties. Two section carrier spearhead on my right flank, securing objective Turner. Meanwhile, detachments from 13 platoon hold objective Bacall. The artillery barrage on my left flank is all smoke. Meanwhile, I continue to push 13 platoon into objective Turner. I spot Panzer IVs on my right flank, moving up the road exactly where I predicted. Much of the line of sight of my left flank is concealed by smoke. A second Panzer IV follows the first as I prepare my AT. They roll past the gate and none of my AT has line of sight. Corporal Macmillan, 8 troop, takes a hit. Lieutenant Dean, 8 troop, takes a hit. I lose 2 Churchills on my right flank. and near miss on Sergeant McQueen. A hit, and the 75mm gun's destroyed. "13 platoon start to garrison the buildings at Turner. The brick buildings provide little cover against German HE. The Mark IVs even spot a carrier on the northern side of the building. The SS quickly start their assault on my right flank across open fields. The Panzer IVs are moving towards an entrance to the field that I hadn't spotted and isn't covered. On my left flank, the German armour comes rolling into my ambush. Panzer Grenadiers run into the orchard, and my towed AT gets in on the action. My initial ambush is successful, Jerry is pushed back. Not everything goes my way, and I lose a 6-pounder. The SS Panzers are forming an assault line. Corporal York, 7 Troop in the centre, another victim. Another shell punches the abandoned Churchill. And the Panzer IVs on my right flank start to advance. Lieutenant Rankin's tank, 7 Troop HQ, is destroyed. I bring up 2nd Lieutenant McClintock from the reserve B Squadron HQ to support on the right flank. Panzer IVs continue to advance. At the moment, my only mobile anti-tank capability on my right flank is 2nd Lieutenant McClintock. SS artillery starts to fall around the call. On my left flank, my ambush has clogged the road. An assault gun tries to manoeuvre through the cornfield. It's spotted by Sergeant Bruce, 1st Section Anti-Tank. The kill shot comes from a 17-pounder on my left flank. In the centre, Sergeant McNabb tries to manoeuvre to get sight on the right flank Panzer IVs. Churchills are outclassed by the SS tanks. McClintock spots a tank destroyer. A side-on shot through weak armour. On my right flank, I'm struggling to identify which tanks are active and which are knocked out. McClintock takes a hit. And the crew have to bail.
Hello, fire mission out.
I start to withdraw survivors of 8 Troop from Bakal. Second heavier barrage falls behind Bakal and Turner. I was repositioning a 17-pounder to support McClintock. The crew abandon the gun in the barrage, and then it's destroyed. 15 minutes into battle, and my left flank is strong. I've managed to slow the attack on my right flank, but German artillery and the Panzer IVs that are still active are giving me a bloody nose. I've lost the 3 Churchills of 7 Troop in the centre by the church, and the 3 Churchills of 8 Troop at Objective Bakal on my right flank. I've also lost the Churchill of 2nd Lieutenant McClintock from B Squadron HQ. 13, 14 and 15 platoon have all taken heavy casualties from the fighting on my right flank and the artillery. On my left flank, the remnants of the armoured column try to push forward. I order a Churchill to try and flank in close quarters. But they take a hit from infantry AT. Deep in defence, Captain McDowell of 1 close support tank B Squadron HQ takes a hit and his tank's knocked out. 6-pounder rounds ping off armour. Two penetrations around the gun. I try to consolidate 13th Platoon's defence at Turner.
Fire from track. Out.
Then I realise why the carriers are retreating. An AT gun gets a hit on the turret, and the Panzer IV withdraws. I've called in an artillery barrage on the hedgerow to interdict the advancing infantry. Objective Turner is under heavy pressure and risks being overrun if the Panzer IVs advance any further. A second Panzer IV advances in support of infantry. With no further armour activity on my left flank, I order 10 troop to support my right flank. It could be a risky manoeuvre as the Churchills roll across my defensive line. Nine troop also manoeuvre right from their deeper defence on my left flank. "25 minutes into battle, and I'm advancing 17 platoon on my left flank in support of 16. I'm considering a counter-attack on my left flank because it looks like I'm only now facing infantry there. I could then potentially sweep west and get behind the attacking SS on my right flank. It looks like there's either 4 or 5 active Panzer IVs on my right flank. And I've made the decision to withdraw from Bacall and Turner on my right flank. I shall reorganise and reconsolidate my forces at the primary objective, Lord Muck. Nine troop have relocated to the area around the church. A hit on one of the marauding Panzer IVs. As one Panzer burns, the second starts to withdraw. Sergeant Morrison knocks out 2 Panzer IVs. A third heavy barrage starts to fall on Bacall and Turner. This complicates the withdrawal of 13 and 14 platoon. Artillery rounds start to fall on my left flank, and I quickly withdraw 16 and 17 platoon. My command structure at Pinky comes under artillery bombardment. The SS start to storm Turner. Ten troop continue to reposition from my left flank to my right. Sergeant Morris provides support to my right flank from the church grounds. The SS still have active armour. I lose another Churchill. Lieutenant Square, 9 Troop HQ, is also supporting the right flank from the church grounds. And a Universal Carrier makes a dash down the main highway from Turner to try and reach safety. As it tries to negotiate a bend, it gets hit. Just over 30 minutes into battle. After withdrawing 16 and 17 platoon on my left flank because of the barrage, I have cancelled the orders for a counterattack. I have formed a defence at Fireline Lake on my left flank and will hold. I'm moving 10 troop and 9 troop into the centre to support the right flank. German artillery is falling all over the battlefield. 13, 14 and 15 platoon of C Company have taken heavy casualties, mostly from artillery. And I'm getting irritated with losing vehicles and troops to artillery fire, especially in my rearguard area. I locate one active Panzer IV, but it appears to be immobile. I called in the Typhoon, but it just flew over the top of it. So I'm bringing 10 troop to have a shot. Lieutenant Wemyss, Troop HQ, is knocked out, and I choose to withdraw Sergeant Soden. Knocking out the Panzer IV isn't worth any more losses. I'll just have to avoid its line of sight. I withdraw the last of 13 platoon and 2 section carrier from Turner. The immobile Panzer continues to cause casualties. battle-weary Panzer Grenadiers reach Bacall. And a universal carrier makes a dash through German lines. They dodge grenades as they bounce down the road. But fall to a Panzerfaust. More SS artillery. A final weak probe on my left flank. I have armour. With my soldiers out of Turner and Bacall, I call in my own barrage. And the SS surrender. I get a British Army total victory. I secure both primary objectives, Lord and Lady Muck. I inflicted sufficient enemy casualties, but I did take heavy casualties myself. The SS failed to achieve any of their objectives, gaining a mere 81 victory points. I lost 11 tanks to the Axis 20. I also lost 6 carriers, including a couple of Lloyd AT carriers and a truck. So let's take a look at the map. You can see the distribution of forces, and also you can see the 2 primary objectives there. So we had 12 minutes left. Don't forget to look at the bottom left hand corner. So we see here the last remaining Panther. It's a mobile, caused a number of casualties, 4 Churchills and 2 carriers. If we look at the rest of the Panzer IVs on my right flank, not that many casualties, several of the tanks not causing any hits at all. The tank destroyer over there. If we look at the infantry, a number of squads suffering some heavy casualties, especially here around the objective Turner as my artillery was coming in. Let's take a look on my left flank. So we've got no active armour. This was a bit of a bottleneck and a bit of a killing field. If I was playing a human player, I wouldn't expect to see this. The AI really, whilst I did catch them in an ambush, they continued to throw their armour through that road and through that gap to try and break my defence. A couple of tanks there that tried to move around through the cornfield. If we look at the centre, so 9 troop, Lieutenant Square, so he's a casualty, but he was in charge of this tank. Did some good work in battle number 11, and also some heavy casualties there. Look at his subordinates. There's a TRP, that's not mine, so that explains why some of the artillery fell. So wrapping this up, Battle 13, total victory for the British, good for their campaign. I hope you enjoyed the battle, and I hope to see you all again soon with the 14th instalment. Have a good one.